Welcome to another edition of SVSU Red Alert, your weekly update on Saginaw Valley State University athletics. I'm your host, JJ Boehm. The SVSU football team finished its regular season home schedule with its biggest margin of victory to date in a win over Northern Michigan, and now they get set to conclude the regular season on the road at Grand Valley. We'll cover all of that with SVSU head coach Jim Collins, and we'll get an update on SVSU's new swimming and diving programs from their new head coach, Bruce Zimmerman. That's all ahead on this edition of SVSU Red Alert. Welcome back to SVSU Red Alert. The SVSU football team won on Senior Day, 52-17, the final score over Northern Michigan. And Coach Collins, one of those games where, particularly in the first half, your team playing very well in all three phases of the game.
Yeah, absolutely, JJ. And it was great to see the seniors contribute so heavily to that success and make all those big plays. And we came out with a sense of urgency. And you would have noticed if you looked at the first play where we fumbled the football, but those things happen. I thought we reacted well after that and really played a great first half.
And then one of those seniors who couldn't play was D'Angelo Paris. His backup, Trayvon Hamilton, comes in, and he gets the interception right after that fumble. So Northern Michigan, you think they might have some momentum going. It's taken away from them right away. Really
fitting, too, that we had a guy come in that really unexpected starter. D'Angelo got hurt in the middle of the week in practice. We have a guy come in and fill his shoes, and that's what we've seen these last 3 weeks. We've seen other players come in and take control of positions that were vacated by injured players and really step up to the challenge.
And then a lot of seniors with very fine senior days, but you always start with John Jennings and Jeff Janis, it seems, and they connected for 4 touchdowns in their last regular season home game.
It's great to see Jeff get back going again after, 3 catches at Michigan Tech, a little bit less than his season average. But, they gave us some things in the passing game. We took advantage of them. And on a windy day, I thought we still were able to execute the passing game at a high percentage. John made some great throws. Jeff, great job getting open and great job after the catch on a lot of those.
And again, some big plays in there, including a 95-yard touchdown where, you're backed up and you didn't decide to go conservative. You decided we're going to air it out deep down the middle, and Janis got open and went 95 yards.
And on that particular play, we really saw the safeties cheating up against the run and took advantage of it. But once again, you got to execute. And Jeff did a great job of running the route and separating from the receiver. John put it on the money, and then the rest was Jeff running away from their DBs. But I think, once again, JJ, it shows where we are as an offense, our ability to run and throw it, and keeping the defenses off balance a little bit with the ability to do both. But once again, it comes down to execution. It was great to see that execution.
And another senior making a big play for you was on the defensive side of the ball, John Bryant with a pick 6.
Once again, great to see a senior make a big play like that. And I thought that was a big momentum shift in the game. At that point in the game, it's 14-3. We've got a little bit of momentum, but still the game really looked like it was in the balance. And JB coming up with that interception really, I think, was a momentum boost for us. Took a little bit out of the offense for Northern Michigan. And from that point on, I thought we really dominated that first half. And then the second half, obviously when you're up with a big lead, still played well, but didn't put as many points on the board in the second half.
But that was, I know, something too where you get a chance for a lot of different guys to get some game experience, because those opportunities are few and far between when you're playing such tight ball games week in and week out.
Absolutely. And really that was, in the fourth quarter, we wanted to make sure we got some experience for those younger guys and the guys that haven't gotten a chance to play. And you're right, JJ. Every single week it seems like you're in a battle where it's within a touchdown or the game's in the balance, so you don't have the opportunity to get the young guys in. And it was great to see those guys go out there and perform and get some experience.
And then on defense, the other part is really holding Northern Michigan to almost nothing in the ground game. I mean, they've got some sacks in there that count for negative yardage, but this is a team that had run the ball well the prior 2 weeks, and their 2 wins coming into it. They really couldn't get much going against Saginaw Valley's front 7.
Exactly, and that's what, when you go into these games like that, you really want to make sure you do a great job of stopping the run. I thought we did a great job with our front 4, and our linebackers were running around really well. And, Northern Michigan's a team that's going to spread you out and try to run it, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on those defensive tackles and ends and that linebacker that gets put in the box, and I thought our guys really stepped up to the challenge.
And then in the second half, when you're trying to protect the lead as well, you kept going to the left side of that offensive line where you've got seniors there at center, left guard, left tackle.
And it was a play that we put in for the week where we're pulling our guard and Babini's getting out there blocking their linebacker, Conrad's crashing down the edge. I thought our tight ends did a great job of blocking. Both Baker and O'Brien did a nice job of blocking their outside linebacker and enabled our running backs to make a lot of big plays. And we didn't have a 100-yard rusher, but with all of them, we rushed the football over 200 yards. I thought Shuford and Mays did a great job.
So you've got all of these things going together, and I know that's the way that you wanted to be able to finish for the final home game that you're going to play. Playoffs still very much a possibility, so you might get a chance to come back, but this was the last one you knew you were going to get to play at home. Exactly,
and we talked about that. There's no... there's a lot of ifs as the season progresses here, but the one thing we wanted to make sure we did was play a great game for the seniors on senior day. Everybody collectively, I thought, put forth great effort and execution, and it was great to see that, a culmination of a lot of work for those seniors in that last home game that they're going to play in the regular season. To put it all together like that was awesome.
SVSU a winner over Northern Michigan 52-17, so SVSU remains undefeated in GLIAC play with one game remaining against their rivals from Grand Valley. We'll preview that matchup a little bit later on, but when we come back, we'll be joined by SVSU wide receivers coach Dan Fedrosi. That's next on SVSU Red Alert.
This week's Spring Hill Suites Female Athlete of the Week is Emily Short. Short, a junior on the women's cross-country team, posted a team-high 5th-place finish at the 2013 Division II Midwest Regional Championships in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Short crossed the line at 21:37 in the 6K event, leading the Cardinals to a runner-up finish. SVSU advances to the Division II National Championships for the third consecutive year, as it looks to improve upon last year's 12th-place finish. This year's race will be held in Spokane, Washington. Emily Short, your SVSU Spring Hill Suites Female Athlete of the Week.
Welcome back to SVSU Red Alert. I'm JJ Boehm, joined by SVSU wide receivers coach Dan Fedrosi. And Dan, first of all, what's it been like for you now as you look at this crop of seniors that are going out? Unfortunately, Mark Thrash went down with an injury early, but you still had a chance to work with Jeff Janis and Michael Albrecht now for years.
They've played for a while. They really have. It's kind of funny. We sit back and we say, they've done a lot for us. Jeff's played for 3 years and been really a big playmaker. Michael's been involved in so much of our offense the last 3 years, and then losing Mark hurt, but some other guys have had to step in. So, they've been so dynamic for us. But it's taken more than just those three and those two since Mark went down. But it's really been a pleasure to coach them, and I think they've played their best football in my time here, probably these last 3 or 4 games, which is exactly what we needed out of them.
And it's interesting because, you look at the stats and you see the huge game from Janis against Hillsdale, then only 3 catches against Michigan Tech. Then he has the big game against Northern Michigan. But if you see him after the game, you wouldn't know which one was the game when he had the big night.
And that's what's been important. It's funny. I talked to Jeff last year about, hey, there's going to be a good chance this upcoming season, 2013, is going to be hard for you to recreate those numbers and have this kind of a season because people are going to double and triple cover you. And he's been able to do that. It's been really a remarkable season by him, but it's been John, it's been the offensive line, it's been the running backs running and protecting. Our tight ends have played great for us this year, as well as the other receivers stepping in when they need them. It's all a collective process of how those things happen. So you don't just go out there and catch those yards because the quarterback's not playing well. It's because he's playing great. You don't go out there and catch those yards and touchdowns because the offensive line isn't doing a great job protecting. It's because they are doing a great job protecting. So it really is a credit to the entire group. Everybody from the offensive line, the running backs, the defense needs to take credit in what he's done and John have been able to do, because it really is an ultimate team achievement of what these guys have been able to do on the field.
And it's been interesting as well because since Mark Thrash went down with an injury, there have been a lot of different guys who have had a chance to step up. Andrew Dillon at tight end, Leonte DeGraff and Reed at wide receiver. So different guys have stepped up in different weeks.
It really has been that. When Mark went down, we were concerned, oh man, this is a kid that's made some plays for us. Made a big 4th down catch last year against Grand Valley that kept that drive going. And we thought to ourselves, we're losing a lot of production there. Andrew stepped up, and I think he was our second leading receiver on the team up until the point that he'd been out. Patrick O'Brien has come in and made some nice catches for us as well as blocked well. Michael Albrecht had a big third down catch this past weekend that kept a drive going. Alfonso Votagio made a great catch on the sidelines. I still don't know how he got his foot down. He's a young kid that's coming up through the ranks, going to do really nice things for us. So, it takes everybody. It really does. This group has really stepped into a role where anybody can make that play if John throws them the football that way. And I think John's feeling more comfortable with all the guys as he's moving along, and that's exactly what you need.
And I know you work with the specialists as well, and we were talking before we went on. To kick a 50-yard field goal anytime is an accomplishment, but Scott Stanford did it on a day that was very, very windy.
Well, we knew that having the wind at his back, he would have the leg. He's got a strong leg. We feel good about him from 50 to 51 most times. But with the wind at his back, we said, okay, we know that he's going to be able to put that football midway through the uprights, and we were just worried about it moving too much left and right, but he controlled it. He did a nice job, and we really had great protection on that one. You have to have great protection because that ball is going to be a little bit lower because he's really got to drive that football. So really good credit to the offensive line, defensive linemen that are in there that protected because they brought some good pressure there, and Scott was able to really put his foot on that one and drive that one through the uprights.
And again, not many times in the Northern Michigan game where punting was key, but some other games recently when you've been able to do that, and Kyle Swale seems to have a knack for getting that ball inside the 20-yard line.
Well, Kyle's done a great job. He's got a great leg. I really feel good about Kyle and our future with him as a punter, but we had two snappers that went in this past week and played. Landon Kresnak, who's been snapping for us as a true freshman, and Kyle Cornelison from Flint area came in and snapped our last punt. So that's really big for us too. Again, those unsung heroes, sometimes you don't realize how important those guys are. But Kyle's done a great job this year. He's really been a weapon for us. Again, I don't know if people realize how good that's been, but you can get that football inside the 10 sometimes, inside the 20. We've even had some turnovers on that team because he gets so much height on that football. Sometimes it's hard to judge that football for those returners. So he has been a huge part of our success as well as all the specialists this year.
What do you do now to get your group ready for this matchup with Grand Valley?
Well, I think you got to keep doing what we've been doing. The kids have really prepared themselves. I talked about Jeff probably playing his best football the last 4 weeks. I don't think I've had any kind of magic potion I've given him. He's prepared himself. He's come out ready to play on those Saturdays. I think they're doing a great job of preparation on their own. I think they're working really, really hard. Our practices the last 2 or 3 weeks, especially out of our group, because that's who I focus on at practice, have been exceptional. I think they've been running as hard as they ever have. I really feel like we're peaking at the right time. So we're going to need that again this weekend. I think we're playing as good a football team as we'll play. So we're going to need that kind of performance again this weekend, and if they prepare themselves, I feel really good about it.
Well, hopefully they do have that type of preparation when we see that kind of performance on Saturday. Coach Verdrosi, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, JJ.
And when we come back, we'll be joined by SVSU's new swimming and diving coach, Bruce Zimmerman. That's next on SVSU Red Alert. Welcome back to SVSU Red Alert. I'm JJ Boehm, joined by SVSU's new swimming and diving coach, Bruce Zimmerman. Bruce, thanks for joining us and welcome to SVSU.
Thank you. It's really glad to be here.
And you've been in swimming and diving coaching now for 38 years. What was it that brought you to SVSU and deciding that you wanted to start the program here?
One of the most exciting things was the fact that it's a brand new program. I've taken over programs in the past that have been existing programs, and the goals there were to make them more competitive and highly competitive. Here, to start a program from the ground up was very, very intriguing to me.
And what does it take now to start putting the foundation in for a program, because we'll have a women's team competing next season and a men's team the season after that?
Correct. Well, the goals are very clear. We want to be highly competitive both at the conference level and on a national stage right away. So we've set some pretty high standards for the program, so that the recruits that we're bringing in and the kids that we eventually get committed here are going to be competitive right away as freshmen, and then obviously their improvement during their 4 years and continuing to recruit quality student athletes will get us to that level.
You came to SVSU from the College of Charleston down in South Carolina. What's the difference in terms of the environment where you came from to what you wanted to establish at SVSU?
Well, we had a really, really good mid-major Division I program in Charleston. Our facilities were adequate, but certainly nothing like the facilities that we have here. And so that was another thing that was intriguing for me to come up here. The facilities, the support from the administration here is spectacular, unlike what I had in Charleston. So putting that whole package together is what prompted me to come up here and gave me a strong sense that all of the pieces of the puzzle are here to accomplish the goal of having a highly competitive program.
And what do you do now in terms of trying to introduce yourself to, particularly I would think, the state of Michigan and all of the swim coaches out there so that you can try to find the types of student athletes that you want to be part of your program?
Well, right now my number one priority is recruiting. That's what I'm spending all of my time doing. I've sent out roughly 250 letters to prospective athletes, not just in the state of Michigan, but in the Midwest region and even down in the Southeast. Obviously, I have connections from down there. But I'm also sending letters to coaches of high school teams, letters to coaches of the U.S. club teams to get the word out nationally that we have a swimming program here with women starting in 14 and men starting in 15. So part of my time is spent getting the word out to coaches that we've got a program starting here, and then the rest of the time is spent identifying quality student athletes who meet the academic criteria that we've set and the athletic criteria that we've set to be a student athlete here at SVSU.
What are the goals and what is the vision that you want to establish for your program?
Immediately to contend for and win the GLIAC Conference Championships. That's number one academically. And then number two, we want to be competitive on a national stage. We want to consistently be a top 10 team, and we eventually want to challenge and contend for an NCAA championship.
Pretty high goals, but you got to probably set that bar high if you want to make people find this an attractive place to have their athletic career.
Absolutely. I mean, we want to be competitive. We're looking for student athletes who want to be competitive. Usually kids who are looking to compete at the collegiate level want to go to a program that has high expectations and wants to be competitive. They know that we are not a club or an intramural sports program, and so in my evaluation of a prospect, I'm looking for kids who have that competitive spirit, who have that drive, who have that work ethic that will help this program get to where we want it to be.
Well, Bruce Zimmerman, welcome to SVSU, and good luck on the recruiting trail and good luck in the pool next year.
Thank you very much.
And when we come back, I'll be rejoined by SVSU football coach Jim Collins. That's next on SVSU Red Alert.
This week's Spring Hill Suites Male Athlete of the Week is Jeff Janis. Janis, a senior wide receiver on the football team, had another big game while helping the Cardinals clinch the GLIAC North Division outright after a 52-17 home victory over the Northern Michigan Wildcats. Janis had 8 catches for 230 yards, and he tied a school record with 4 touchdown catches, a record he already shared with 2 other former Cardinal players. Included in those 8 catches was a career-long 95-yard hookup with senior quarterback Jonathan Jennings. Janis leads the GLIAC with 1,419 yards receiving and 14 touchdowns. Jeff Janis, your Spring Hill Suites Male Athlete of the Week.
Welcome back to SVSU Red Alert. I'm J.J. Boehm, joined by SVSU football coach Jim Collins. And Coach, when you know that Saginaw Valley and Grand Valley are sitting there in Week 11, you expect it to be a big game, and this one certainly appears to be for both sides. They've got a lot riding on the outcome of this one coming up on Saturday.
Well, that's what you want to see when you're playing a rival game like this, JJ. Last game of the season, to have a lot on the line is great, and I think it's great drama for the fans, and it's also very exciting as a player to be involved in a game like this.
And to go over kind of the scenarios a little bit, you can't cover all of it, but of course SVSU trying to finish undefeated in GLIAC play, 9-0 right now. Grand Valley right now sitting number 6 in the region, SVSU number 3 in the region. So had the season ended after 10 weeks, each team would have made the playoffs. So both teams, again, a lot at stake going into this matchup.
And I think it shows, number one, the quality of our conference. to have two teams in the North Division in the playoff picture, and then the other thing it shows is the quality of the two teams and the coaching staff. So, it's a great challenge. Grand Valley's got a great program, and obviously we knew they would be a team that would be around at this point in the season. We had a lot of confidence in our ability to be around at this point in the season. If you look at all the preseason predictions, it was Grand Valley and Saginaw Valley in the picture late in the season. So, both teams have taken a course that's a little bit different, but obviously both teams are still standing at this point, and that's probably what we expected.
Grand Valley, a team that lost 2 games relatively early in the season to Ohio Dominican and to Ferris, and maybe dropped under the radar a little bit, but they haven't lost since.
No, and they figured out ways to win, much like we have, and they've got a good group of players, and they've had to overcome injuries as well, and they're playing good football. So once again, the Saginaw Valley Grand Valley matchup is going to mean a lot, and it's going to be big, and we're looking forward to the challenge.
And of course, everybody's going to also think back to last year's game, what a barn burner it was. Almost 4 hours of football in a game that didn't go to overtime, and SVSU ultimately wins 55-52. Jeff Janis with that tremendous catch in the corner of the end zone to win it.
Well, last year's game was an outstanding win for us. Obviously, it was a great football game. If you're a fan of football, to see the scoreboard light up like that, was interesting. But last year is last year, and I don't think there's been any talk this week so far about last year's game. And that's really what I think has been special about this football team. We've really been able to focus on the task at hand, and we're working real hard on focusing on this Saturday.
And I know that's something that you've probably got to try to make sure you do stay focused on that, because it's human nature to start thinking about, hey, what are all the possibilities for postseason play when you've still got one regular season game to go?
Exactly, JJ, and I think that's where a strong senior class comes into play, a senior class that's mature and has been around for all these experiences in previous years, and that's the kind of the trademark of this year's team and senior class is that we haven't looked ahead. We've treated each week individually and focused on that week being really important, and obviously it is once again. So, we're focused on this task right now, and looking ahead, the future is going to take care of itself. But right now, the immediate future in this weekend against Grand Valley is the most important thing.
What do you do to make sure you have your team ready to go and in the right frame of mind for this big matchup against your rivals?
You follow the script we've been following all year long, and that's have great practices, do a great job in our meetings of preparing, and our players working real hard in the film room, on the practice field, and then when they get back to their dorm rooms, doing a little bit of studying on our video on the computer. So it's that continuous effort to get better and improve every day and every week, and I think they followed that plan so far, and we're looking forward to it happening again this week.
Well, it's a big game. Again, as you said, that's what you want at the end of the season. A lot on the line for both teams. Coach Collins, good luck against Grand Valley.
Thanks, JJ.
And we thank you for watching, and we hope you have enjoyed this edition of SVSU Red Alert.